Temperatures in the 50s. Rain expected to hold off tonight for this collision here. A presentation of the Big 12 Conference on ESPN. The Bedlam name initially goes back to the wrestling dual meets between these two schools, which are extremely intense. Talked about the Sooner dominance, but the last time here, Oklahoma had to stop a two-point conversion to hold on 48-47 as huge favorites. Oklahoma State as underdogs, as fans will know, dangerous over the years. Oklahoma State won the toss and deferred, so we'll see the kickoff from Jake McClure. TJ Pledger, the Oklahoma running back, is back deep. Early pyrotechnics. And a kick that is
about that in the open. The physicality. Keep in mind, Stevenson, 245 pounds. Mims, they want to try to isolate and get one-on-one. This is a defense that can bring a lot of pressure up front. They're a veteran group. They'll be flying around with their one of the best front sevens of the Big 12.
This is Stevenson in the flat, gets a nice block, has a first down, still running. Into Oklahoma State territory, Ramondre Stevenson rumbling all the way inside the 30, and the pattern holds. Sooners expect to score quickly against the Cowboys.
You love to see him get his hands on the ball, and Rattler really kind of draws the defense. Little flip that's designed to get him out of space. And he is so physical, and he's so light on his feet at 245 pounds. Tough to bring down in the open field.
45-yard gain, they overthrow it to him. Stevenson, of course, one of the three Sooner stars who tested positive for drugs at the Peach Bowl. A 5-game suspension. He was on the scout team until just a couple games ago.
Exactly. And I think he was frustrated. Lincoln Riley was frustrated. But you know what he did? He went to work on that scout team, stayed in good game shape. So when he did get his chance to get out there, you can see the numbers in the last 2 games now that he's been back. Tell you that Oklahoma now has a back. They haven't had it for the first 5 games. Now they have a back that can break tackles.
Boy, can he break tackles. He is no fun to tackle, just muscles forward for a 6-yard gain. 246-pounder out of Las Vegas and Cerritos College in L.A.
You see Stevenson coming out, and I think what I've recognized is with Stevenson coming in, it's made TJ Pledger a better back. He's much better. He's been carrying the load 5, but with 29 in, 5 becomes he's a changeup, and he has live legs, and he's more of a slasher. So I think he's even more effective having his 1-2 punch in his backfield.
It's a pretty good receiver, Pleasure. We'll also see the true freshman tonight, Seth McGowan. They've got a nice rotation in the backfield. Rattler has time and zips it across the middle, and the catch is made. That's Braden Willis talking about him stepping up with Stockner out tonight.
You know, Holly mentioned, and you just mentioned Stockner out, they knew that Willis coming back would be big because he's more at that position. He's more of a receiver, the guy that can hit those seams. It's an area that they've always been able to attack in this offense. They get the eyes affected by safeties and linebackers thinking about the run, and then play action, and right behind those backers, a lot of times those seams routes. Nice play there by
5 plays, and it's 1st and goal. Fake it. Keeper. Scores standing up. Spencer Rattler and the Sooners right down the field. And for the 3rd straight Bedlam game, they score a quick touchdown against the Cowboys.
How often have we seen the counter play and watch the linebackers, and instead it's going to go the back door with Rattler. They've heard all week, counter, stop the counter. There's nobody there except the safety, who's Sterling, who's a good player, but misses in the open field.
That's a whiff against the quarterback.
Yeah. But a good call there by Lincoln Riley. Oklahoma State obviously thinking the counter play would be the factor, and instead the quarterback, who's not really known as a runner, does a nice job there getting into the end zone.
Burkett knocks it through. It won't be the last time tonight you say, good call by Lincoln Riley.
No.
When he scripts the opening series, it is devastating. Cowboys have to answer quickly here. See if they can. Sooners come out smoking in Norman. There's the AT&T 5G Skycam. Check out the AT&T 5G Skycast, streaming live on ESPN3 and the ESPN app. Oklahoma continues to just be dominant early, 110-10. That's the scoring edge in the first quarter for Oklahoma this season, 110-10.
Well, that young quarterback looks like a different player from early in the year to now. We'll talk more about how Lincoln Riley's helped him throughout the broadcast.
And we'll see if the Cowboys can answer. This is Braden Johnson. He'll bring it out to the 21-yard line. Spencer Sanders gets his first taste of Bedlam. Did not play the last couple years. It was in the opener against Tulsa that he injured his ankle. This actually cost him a couple of games. So he comes back, tries to get healthy, and he's been, pretty impressive. The last 3 starts, throws for 743, 5 touchdowns. Got to watch the interceptions tonight.
I think that's obvious. I mean, he's got to be able to take care of the ball on the road. Rivalry game going up against Lincoln Riley and Spencer Rattler, and that production. He's got to have a big night tonight.
Chuba Hubbard is not at 100%, but the electric Canadian grit in his teeth, trying to finally have a breakout game. Hasn't been able to hit the home run yet this year. They fake it to him. Sanders is flushed, backpedals, just heaves it up into the air, into the bench, doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's the concern for Oklahoma State in this game. We can talk all we want about Sanders. We can talk all we want about Hubbard and Wallace. It's protection. Can you take care of your quarterback? Right now, Jake Springfield is in there at left tackle. They've moved Josh Sills into left guard, his more natural position. But that's going to be the key in this game, is up front, that battle up front.
David Alvarez is intentional grounding. He was in the pocket, didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. And you're right, Springfield, they like the fact that he can return to the starting lineup at left tackle, but they had nightmarish problems in the offensive line.
And now he's looking across at number 7.
Hello.
Right. Who's out to prove a point since he's been back from his suspension.
The quarterback was inside the tackle box, and there was no receiver in the area. Intentional grounding. Offense, number 3, lost it down from the spot of the pass. 2nd down.
Gundy arguing. That's an understatement. The ball was thrown to the bench and got nowhere near the line of scrimmage.
No, you could see the shaded box area. He doesn't really come that close. And if you don't get outside of the box, then you need to have a receiver in that area, and there clearly wasn't.
So 2nd and 21. Cowboys backed up to the 10 after the first play. And already you can see that uneasy feeling on the offensive line. Perkins makes an impact, and now it's a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, you got 20,000 fans in here, and it's a rivalry game. And I'll tell you, 20,000 fans with a defense out of the field can make a lot of noise.
Offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty.
It's 25% of capacity, you're right, but they're all on their feet and roaring early. They love what they see so far.
No doubt. This is exactly the way this Oklahoma defense wanted to start, the opposite of that for Mike Gundy and his quarterback Spencer Sanders. Sooners go 6 plays, 75 yards and a touchdown. Now your own offense is backed up near your own goal line.
They got Welcome to the Jungle cranked up. Play action on 2nd and 26, a short throw, and it's Tylan Wallace. Again, out last year's Bedlam game, but the monster 10-catch, 220-yard game here 2 years ago.
Yeah, and always a concern to go behind coverage, a vertical threat, especially when corners are on islands against him. That's why that time Trey Brown giving him a cushion now comes up tight on him, but he has safety help behind with Pat Fields.
Both defenses excellent on 3rd down. Oklahoma rushes 3. Sanders has time, but no chance. Looking for Wallace, well covered by Trey Brown. The penalties on the first 2 plays just doomed the series.
So when you get to 3rd down and you're Alex Grinch, that's one thing to have Trey Brown up tight and he's following him. That's great, but you have a safety also, Pat Fields over top. So it makes it really tough on Sanders, who obviously wants to try to find a way to get the ball to Wallace, but good coverage by Brown and having support there by Pat Fields over top.
30-year-old Aussie Tom Hutton on to punt, and Marvin Mims, who's an electric true freshman receiver. Back to field, this is the 35, running sideways and backwards, and he'll lose a bunch on the return. He was counting on his speed to get the quarter, but Harper said, not going to happen.
Yeah, Thomas Harper and his brother Devin Harper, great athletic ability on that defense, and here on special teams. Oklahoma, their first drive. This is how you settle into the game, right? You get the ball out to your running back, Stevenson, who is a handful out in space, just takes a simple little route and turns it into a big gain. And we saw the H-back Willis get involved in a seam route, and then you see that counterplay. No, they're going to go with the quarterback on just a little, almost like a naked counterplay going the other way.
Stevenson. What makes Lincoln Riley's scripted series to start games really so impossible to stop for opponents so far this year?
Like any play caller, he studies it, but he has a scheme that's so hard to prepare for. And what's funny to me is his play card is inside his pocket right now in his right hand. I mean, it's like Mike Leach.
He takes pride in that.
There it is.
That's all it is.
He just folds it up. I mean, in this world of guys having wristbands and play sheets that hang off their belt, he's just got a little folded up sheet of paper.
Play action. Rattler lofts it downfield, and here comes a flag. Theo Weiss was being defended by Bernard Converse.
And he grabbed onto his arm there. That's what the officials saw. But Chris, I think he's had an entire week to find your weaknesses. He knows what formations to get into, and he puts a lot of stress on a defense because a lot of the formations of personnel groupings can be a run or a pass. So your eyes can be affected big time.
Holding. Defense, number 24. 10-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
There will be some battles tonight. There always are in Bedlam on the perimeter. DBs and wide receivers, a lot of hand fighting like this. How will they call it? It's often a key factor.
You make a good point about the opening drive of Lincoln Riley, but Jim Knowles telling us this week, in his third year now as defensive coordinator in this system, and a lot of these guys on defense for Oklahoma State, they've played a lot, 3 years. He said in-game adjustments with this veteran group have been easier than previous years because of knowledge of the scheme.
It's Drake Stoops who goes in motion to hand it off to Mikey Henderson, the H-back, who lined up along with Stevenson, and that's a quick burst. Got about 8.
I just feel that there's more bodies involved in this offense this year than in the past. In the past, you had 1 or 2 individual superstars. You had a C.D. Lamb, who was the guy, Jalen Hurts. You had Kennedy Brooks, and when Trey Sermon went down, Hollywood Brown. This year, it's just there's a lot of different weapons that they're utilizing and attacking with.
Stevenson spins, bangs forward, still running hard, gets a first down. That's right. They definitely spread the ball around. You can't focus in on one receiver. Even without Stogner, there's plenty of depth in this receiving core.
Yeah, I mean, and I really think if you look at this team early in the year, trying to replace Jalen Hurts. Think about Jalen Hurts, a guy that would be your leader and would win a game, and then he'd go in the weight room after the game. I mean, he was just wired differently as an old soul. You take that away, and you go to a redshirt freshman quarterback with new weapons around him. It took a few games to kind of settle into who they were in 2020 without a lot of those familiar faces.
Spencer Rattler said Hurts was a good mentor to him, learned a lot from him about maturity and work ethic. Stevenson, they had him penned in behind the line. He fights like heck to get back to the line of scrimmage, and Amen Abagbamiga combining with Christian Holmes on the tackle.
Yeah, but watch the push right here. Push him right back into the backfield there. Brandon Evers, who's a really tough inside defender for this defense. That disrupted the timing. That counterplay is legendary out of this offense, and one of the great ways to eliminate that is to blow it up on the play side, which is exactly what he did. And by doing that, slowing it down, it allowed the rest of the defense to rally with their speed.
Ledger the back on 2nd and 10. Stoops running around out there. And Rattler will look downfield. Throws into coverage. And that's Mims going up and making an acrobatic catch deep in Cowboy territory.
And that's against Rodarius Williams, who's given up 6 receptions all year. He's one of the top corners in the country. How excited is Mims as a true freshman to have this challenge? You talk about focus and want to go up and make a catch. Boy, Mims, each week, we saw him make a catch like that against TCU earlier this year. He's not just a guy that's going to catch it and be explosive. I love a guy that's going to fight for the football like that. Great play by 17.
He's a touchdown machine. Got 7 this year. 32 touchdowns as a high school senior in Texas. Rattler on the run, puts it in the flat. Henderson's got space. Henderson's got a touchdown. 2 possessions, 2 scores for the Sooners.
Chris, the key to this play is that he catches the ball behind the line of scrimmage, so the receivers to the right, you'll see him off to the right, do a good job of blocking. They're blocking right now. It's not like a rub or they're trying to pretend to get in the way of a defender. They're blocking because you can see he catches the ball behind the line of scrimmage. The progressive pylon cam shows he gets into the end zone without stepping out of bounds.
First touchdown for Henderson, and again with Stogner, the star out. You've seen Willis make a catch. Henderson's made an impact. It highlights the depth of this Oklahoma team and the explosiveness. Oklahoma, electric start, up 2 scores on the Cowboys. Cincinnati, which had a hard-fought win. Where does BYU rank?
Yeah, those are tough questions.
Wisconsin dropped out of consideration, you'd figure, today with their first loss. Gators fell behind but won. A&M had their game postponed. We'll talk more about that as the night unfolds. Just in case we need some material in the second half, we know how to do this. Johnson from the 5. Little crease, but some hard hitting. You can hear the pads popping. Beckham made there on the special teams by the Sooners.
I feel like Oklahoma State's heads are spinning right now defensively. As I said, you get a block here by Stoops, you get a block here by Mims, and then just out in the flat, Henderson off of the fake. But these guys can block downfield. They're not trying to get in the way of these guys. They're actually physically blocking because Henderson catches the ball behind the line, slightly behind the line of scrimmage, so you can get downfield and make those blocks.
Cowboys take over, trying to steady the ship. It was a rough first series with the 2 penalties. The pass rush.
Need a drive. Need some first downs right now.
Hubbard tackled after a short gain by Isaiah Thomas. Biggest deficit of the season for Oklahoma State. They got down 12-0 and then scored 20 straight at Kansas State. Whole different kind of game tonight, though.
Yeah, and it's a very different Oklahoma defense this year with Alex Grinch and the way they can win up front at the line of scrimmage.
Up the play action, batted in the air, down to get tapped. Was it picked? Yes! Off the Carroll. The interception made by Ogwegbu. What an athletic play.
Yeah, but watch here the aggressiveness. This is Norwood, who's a former corner, who's coming down, who gets his hand on the football. And then Ogwegbu actually goes up in the air. He may have got his hand on that. Boy, it was close between 2 and 13. See who gets his hand. It is Ogwegbu. So he not only knocks the ball down, he looks straight up, sees it, and then goes airborne. They're going to probably take a peek at that. That ball may have hit the surface.
Yeah, it has to be in his control when it hits the ground. You can't have the ground aid in the control of the football. So we'll get an early rep for Bill Lamagna, a rules expert in the booth, as David Ames, the replay official, takes a look at that one, Bill.
Our first glance at play is under further review. Going on the field, it was an interception.
First look, it looked like a clean interception, but as we look at the replays here, he's got to have firm control. Now, when he gets his hands on it and he hits the ground, does the ball move from the ground? And that's going to be the question for replay to look at. I think the call's going to stand, but it does appear that there's some movement of the ball as it hits.
Wow. The good call is going to stand.
Yeah, because when you look at that, you're a fan at home, you clearly see a lot of the ball hitting the ground. But as you're saying, if it doesn't affect the possession.
Yes, if he's got firm control as that happens.
See, an Oklahoma State fan sees a lot of football hitting the ground.
Well,
if the ball hits first, it's a moot point.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, he can hit the ground. Does he have a firm grip on the ball? Does he have total control right there as it hits the ground? It definitely pops.
It does
out of his
pop on
hand
that
a bit.
view. So this should be an incomplete pass.
Okay.
It took about the third look, but you changed your mind. You think it'll be.
That's a tough one.
Reviewed.
And replay's got those looks, and that last look, the ball does come up from the ground on that. So we should have an incomplete pass.
Ogwegbu made such an athletic play.
Oh my
You almost
God.
feel like you should be rewarded. You said batting it in the air.
Yeah,
that locating the ball in the air and diving.
I thought Norwood got his hand on it on the blitz, but it was Ogwegbu, and I just love to see a guy like that, outside linebacker. He's moving to inside linebacker because of his size. You know, with Kenneth Murray moving on to the NFL, they're playing white, and you know they have linebackers that are a bit undersized, but boy, Ogwegbu can make plays.
After review, the one on the field stands as an interception. First down, Oklahoma.
So stands. They didn't see enough to overturn it. Had it been called incomplete, Bill, it probably would have say it an incomplete pass.
Yeah, if you hear stands, no matter which way they call it, that's what it's going to be.
In the meantime, this Oklahoma State defense, which has been stout, allowing less than 18 points a game. Only Texas really hurt him badly this year. Is suddenly Kirk up against it with the Sooners taking over at the 20.
I mean, they just settled into this game, right? Rivalry game, and you're down 14, and now here comes Rattler at the 20-yard line trying to go up 21 on the attack. You know, this defense has been bragged about all year, but man, they've been on the field a lot here in this first quarter.
Two-back look again. Henderson, who just scored, alongside Stevenson. This is Big Stevenson running to the left, and they string him out and knock him down.
Nice job keeping the edge of the defense there. Martin, 40 guy, did a nice job of getting outside of the former backer who helps out on the edge of this defense. Yeah, that's one of the, when you're defending Lincoln Riley, going back when they played teams like LSU or Clemson or Alabama in some of these bigger games, everybody says the same thing. Man, we've got to hold the edge to our defense against this running game of theirs.
Rattler still got it from the pocket, zips a little slant, and a sliding catch is made by Stoops, and you can hear the crowd serenading him.
Yeah, Bob Stoops' son, Drake, Bob and Carroll's son, doing a nice job here. There's that read, and he's reading that safety on that ride. And I love Drake's route there where he showed stalk block, and the defender kind of got his eyes into the backfield, and then he darted to the inside on that slant. And good, well-timed there with Rattler and Stoops.
10th catch for the sophomore. Nice visit with Bob pregame. Yeah. A couple doors down here. First and goal. Stevenson again has to bounce it. Cowboys doing a good job penetrating, and then Malcolm Rodriguez in on the tackle.
Yeah, you're going to see him play and make a lot of plays. I feel like he is, you know, in this era of linebackers where they're a bit undersized, they're asked to cover, they're asked to go up and play against the run. He's as good as you'll find. He's about 220 pounds. High school wrestler, just seems to slip blocks. He doesn't take them on at 220. He's going up against 315-pound guys. He gets around them and just instinctively makes plays.
He was 180 in high school, unrecruited. Yeah. A no-star recruit. He's now a star of this defense. Rattler flips it back, shoulder throw, 3 possessions and 3 touchdowns. Theo Weiss looked pretty easy.
How much of a rhythm right now is this offense led by Spencer Rattler and the play calling of Lincoln Riley? The back shoulder here to Weiss, who's got good size, but Rattler, look how comfortable he is. Almost kind of falling back like a fadeaway, but puts it right where it needs to be. Good route by Weiss. Boy, he just continues to get better himself. And Bernard Converse in a tough spot there against that back shoulder fade, and the progressive pylon cam again showing you another Sooner touchdown.
This is the Oklahoma offense. Last 4 games since the losing streak. They spread the ball around. They score quickly. The Pokes and Sanders on the ropes. 9 minutes in, down 21. The old scooter, it didn't feel that stable. We were riding along for that commercial. I remember. Braden Johnson will try to spark this Oklahoma State team if he can. Lets it bounce, and it just goes into the end zone.
To try to affect the communication up front of the offensive line.
Now, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. That's what opponents say. But what do you do down 3 scores to kind of settle your quarterback down? It's been a tough start.
The problem is you're losing at line of scrimmage. And we knew coming in when we talked, you and I talked, we talked to the coaches. The battle and the concern we brought up in the first series was Oklahoma State's offensive line. How would they survive against Alex Grinch and an attacking, athletic, physical, aggressive defensive front? Right now, they don't have any answers. They're going to have to throw the ball and win on the outside before they can run.
Now they hand it up to Brown, and he falls forward. Holly, you've been ringside for some of these Big 12 games. This is a serious problem up front for the Cowboys again tonight.
That's right, and it started before the season ever started when they actually had 1 kid have to medically retire. 2 other kids were dismissed from the team. They've lost a total of 7 guys at times this season. That 2 guys went out with broken legs in the very first game. It has been a patchwork offensive line, and we're seeing that, their inability to protect right now.
Yeah, Holly, a revolving door at some of these positions.
Empty backfield. Sanders tries to take off and make it with his legs, and he'll slide across the 35. It is the first down for Oklahoma State.
Well, that's what you'd expect to see from Sanders, especially on third down. Is he's creative. He's got tremendous athletic ability and the feet to be able to improvise and make plays, and they finally pick up their first down. The coverage was good downfield, but a nice job by Sanders deciding to pull it down and get that the yardage that he needed.
Talked about this Sooner defense, Kirk. Grinch was telling us they really inherited a group that had some mental scars. This Oklahoma defense had been embarrassed every time they really took on elite teams. There's a play action first down slant, and it is complete there to Johnson. He's got a first down at midfield.
Yeah, I think that the psyche of the team more than anything, it wasn't just XOs. It was just trying to pick up the pieces. This Oklahoma team has been known with Lincoln Riley to be, boy, Lincoln Riley, the quarterback's the offense, they can score, but oh boy, what about the defense? And they felt that, so I think they tried to kind of get the morale up.
Two tight ends in the ball game. They can't protect him. Slung down is Perkins, who comes out with the football. But another imposing play by that Sooner front, and he is letting the Cowboys sideline know about it.
Yeah, and it's just a mismatch. They're going to have to help with a tight end or a back because he's just too quick to the outside against Jake Springfield. Watch him disengage, get his hands off, and then how he's able to bend and get back in and get to the quarterback.
Perkins, who had 6 sacks last year, again missed the semifinal CFP game, missed the first 5 games. He looks possessed tonight. And this has been a chippy start. I don't think that the Sooner defense liked hearing all the hype about the Cowboys defense.
And you can see the reaction there. One of the knocks on Spencer Sanders as a young quarterback is his emotion, volatility. Tim Rattay, who's now the quarterback coach, is actually down on the field. Usually Gundy has his quarterback coach as an OC up in the box, but Rattay's downstairs to try to help keep Sanders calm.
Welcome to Bedlam, true freshman Shane Illingworth in at quarterback and slinging it on his first play and way overthrown. Illingworth played the couple of games when Sanders was out. This is a tough spot for a true freshman quarterback, even though he's talented.
No doubt about it. And his first time he comes in, it's second long and an obvious passing situation. He's feeling that twist and the pressure getting to him. As soon as he released that ball, he felt an Oklahoma defender right in his face, closing in.
He was the highest rated recruit in the Cowboys 20 class out of Norco, California. A pocket guy, not very mobile, however. Big tall guy at 6'6". Slings it. Wallace breaking tackles. First down into Oklahoma territory. That's crucial.
But I love the placement of the ball. He put Wallace, he threw the ball upfield. Comes off the fake. The defense is out of position. But see how he put it out in front to Wallace? And I love that Wallace is able to catch that all hands instead of using his body.
Second catch for Wallace, off play action. Illingworth slinging it again. High throw. Wallace fell down. It was the freshman DJ Graham in coverage. Ollie?
Guys, Spencer Sanders came to the bench, and a group of medical professionals were around him asking him questions. He tried to get up and run back in the game, and they said, wait just a minute, young man. He reeled off a list of information to make them know that he is fine, that he does not have a head injury, that he can be coherent to go out there and play right now. He's got his helmet on, and he's just pacing over here, begging them to let him get back in the game right now. He seems like he's okay.
That's that competitive fire. Let me go back. I'm down 21. Let me back out there to compete.
Yeah, but let the medical expert check it off first, my friend.
Yeah.
Illingworth rolls, flips it in the flat, and the catch is made by Logan Carter, and he's knocked down a yard short.
See, the answer here is trying to make this defense, it clearly is coming. They're running to the football, misdirection, coming back the other way, getting the defense out of the position. And even though you don't necessarily see the same athletic ability with Illingworth, it's still a nice design to be able to get him away from some of that pressure.
Need 4 on third down. Sooners bring the pressure. Illingworth just lofts it down the field. Never really had a chance. You can understand why he wants to get the ball out. Definitely what he's seen so far.
A flag came in late.
Very late.
I mean, very late. And I don't know if that was jawing. I think it may have been jawing by Radley Hiles, who has a tendency to do that, 44 for Oklahoma, after the play.
I'd say that again.
Yeah, he's 1 minute he'll make a great play. The next, he loses his cool emotionally.
This would be a killer penalty if it is on Radley Hiles, because it's fourth down without it.
I mean, you could have. he grabbed a hold of him, grabbed a hold of the jersey. I mean, it could have gone that way, but I thought as late as it came in, I thought it was just him just talking trash to Stoner.
You know, the officials look for him. I mean, he's got a reputation that's well known by everybody in the league, opponents and officials.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 44. That is his first. Half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
Yeah, that's the 7th penalty on him this season.
Yeah, it's right there. And you know what? I personally like it. I like it. I think that's a great call, especially early in the game, in a rivalry game. Set the tone and let these players know, especially led by 44, you're not going to put up with it. How many times have we seen this? 44 is a great player.
1,000.
He does something stupid, then he's brought over to the sidelines.
Wow. I mean, that just prolongs the drive. First down now inside the 15. Fake to Hubbard. Illingworth sets his feet. Fires end zone. Touchdown. Logan Carter is wide open.
The trial there, Chris.
There was an injury in pregame to the regular kicker. I mean, situational understanding. The ball was overthrown. He didn't do anything in the play. It was an overthrow. So there's a turn and point at the receiver.
Right. Not to mention you're up 21. Yeah. I mean, your opponent's ready. They're on the mat. They're done. Now you give them life.
There's a touchback. Remember Zach in his days here?
Yeah.
Oklahoma State. Slinging it around. Sooners, 4th possession. 3 for 3, reaching the end zone so far. Pledger is the back. Rattler 6 for 7. 128 and a couple touchdowns already in this first quarter. Looking to throw on first down. Pressured and he'll be sacked. The pass rush got there early to bring the pressure, and that's Ford combined with Hassi.
Yeah, Trace Ford right here, really in a mismatch going up against the H-back Hall. He's got a great initial get-off, and then he's got the power. He's put some good weight on this year, so just being able to push that pocket the way he did right in the face of Rattler forces him out of the pocket. And this Oklahoma State defense, man, they get a score by their offense. They're down by 14. It's still early in this game. This defense has been prone to make plays and create turnovers. This would be a good time to try to do that.
Ford, one of the better sack guys on this defense. On 2nd and 14. Rattler gets the ball out. This is Henderson. He's been busy. He's got space again. And the seldom used H-back is having a ball game tonight.
Just a crosser, like a mesh route underneath. You have Stoops working from right to left. Right here, he ends up working underneath. Just kind of gets lost in coverage. A lot of moving parts and a lot of things happening with where your eyes can get affected as a player in that secondary, and they just lost him again. I think they're looking at some of these other receivers and just losing Henderson, who's made a few plays out there where no one's around him.
Cowboys escaped the flag. They shoved Henderson late that time. Pledger is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Again, you're seeing the depth and the versatility. Stogner out. He's a big weapon. Hall, Henderson, Willis, different kinds of players, but all very capable. It has been Henderson featured tonight.
Yeah. Again, we talked earlier about how they're able to spread it around. You have different strengths with which each of these players, whether it's backs, H-backs, receivers, and Rattler really the beneficiary of having all those weapons.
Nice backfield, 5 receiver look. Plenty of time for Rattler, who slings it. Man, he's got a pretty throwing motion. Right at the marker is Drake Stoops. Well, Markham maybe just a bit short of Bamiga on the tackle.
I love Drake. Looks like he's from Youngstown. I know he's not. He's from Norman, but man, he's got that Youngstown vibe to him. The way he gets up, he's chippy.
Oh, the family roots are in yellow Youngstown in him.
Ready for anybody.
Oklahoma, 192 yards in the first quarter. Back after this message that we're from your local ABC station. And on 3rd down, Rattler flips it off. Mims has space and a first down, and this offense just been unstoppable so far. Williams ushered him out.
You get a guy like Mims, you just want to get him out in space. An electrifying player, young freshman. We've talked already about what he can do downfield, but it gives you an idea. And love to see again Theo Weiss, unselfish wide receiver downfield blocking.
Mims is an engineering major as a freshman. He's not messing around. You show up here and, wow, taking some tough classes.
Stepping into the deep end there.
Big time. Pledger, nowhere to run. Fights back to the line of scrimmage. Trace Ford on the stop.
Boy, Trace Ford again. Love to see this. Just manhandling Swenson, the left tackle. Again, gets engaged. See his eyes? He's already has a lot. He's locked into 77 in his chest. And then he's looking into the backfield about, is the ball coming my way? Then disengages and makes the play. I tell you, Ford's taken his game to a different level sophomore year. Guy to really keep an eye on. Not only as a pass rusher, but as you saw right there, he can defend the run.
It's this Cowboy defense that needs to make a play, needs to stop the bleeding. Empty backfield on 2nd and 10. Deep drop. Rattler lost it. Tried to find that back shoulder play to Reese again. Incomplete. No flag.
Better coverage there. Harvell Peel, who's been dealing with some injuries, really known as a guy that can get up and run support and get him isolated one-on-one against a really talented receiver. Never gets his head quite turned around to find the ball, which usually is an indicator for a referee to consider pulling that flag out. But I think a good call there to just let them play.
Sooners 2 for 2 on 3rd down. The Cowboys have been an elite defense this year. 23%. That's all they were allowing coming in, but a whole different level of offense faced tonight. Rattler gets it out. Jump ball broken up. He tried to get the ball again to Mims and Williams. It's tough to beat him in coverage.
Yeah, there's the size and the length of 8. You know, Jim Knowles said he's taken his game to a different level. Already came into the year as one of the top corners, but you could see he gets his body in position, and then he gets his head turned around, and then it's just a matter of playing the football. Almost comes up with the interception. Kind of a risky pass there by Rattler.
Williams headed to the Senior Bowl, which he's very proud about. Brother of Greedy Williams.
Yep.
Who's in the NFL. Burkich, very reliable from 40 to 49. He's 2 of 3. And in a breezy night, he navigates that one through the uprights. Sooners held to a field goal, but expand the lead 17. Say that should a team in the semifinal bracket have enough COVID issues that they couldn't play, they would not replace that team.
Right.
Not add a team back in. That would just be a walkover for the other team. Johnson hesitates from the goal line, brings it out, and nice looking return. Tiptoes down the sideline, out near the 35-yard line.
Your head hits the ground, so Illingworth will continue to play quarterback and had a very good first drive.
True freshman from California did get the Cowboys to the end zone with a pass, and now looks to fire downfield. And that's Wallace. That's just a prayer. They're all over him. Holly?
Well, guys, Spencer Sanders keeps speaking to medical professionals here on the sideline, and they're just not clearing him to go back in right now. I saw him talk to some of the coaches, and then those coaches immediately went over to Illingworth and just started working through the game plan with him. It doesn't look like they'll clear Sanders right now. Even Chuba Hubbard said, "Hey, man, are you okay?" And he just shook his head. They're going to stick with the freshman for now.
Illingworth, pump fake, slings it. Wallace couldn't come up with it and came down awkwardly on the sideline. Woody Washington, who's in a corner with Jaden Davis out tonight in coverage.
Yeah, a great matchup here. They're very high on Woody Washington, what he can bring to this defense. And the ball's thrown right where it needs to be. You don't see Wallace, who's such a competitor, drop a ball like that very often. I think he was so focused on his feet, getting his feet down in bounds, that he just lost focus just for a split second on catching the ball. Watch out on the right tackle here in pass protection.
He sets up a 3rd and 10. Sooners are chopping at the bit, crowding the line. They don't blitz. They back off in coverage, and the young quarterback, a little bit confused, tried to find Stoner. That's a tough look for a true freshman.
Yeah, it really is. And this is an example of affecting the quarterback. Not getting a sack, but just getting a push. Tell you, if you want to see, we talk so much about Perkins and Bonito 11 getting after the quarterback. This young junior college player, 8, Perrion Winfrey, that time he impacted Illingworth and just feeling comfortable and getting that ball out. Got it out a little bit early.
Number 1 junior college defensive line prospect. And that's a low punt. Mims comes up the field at the 35-yard line. And Oklahoma back to work, up by 17. Spencer Rattler came out. The Taco Bell Liv Moss moments.
Yeah, just from the opening drive, a little misdirection there where you'd expect to counter. Instead, they go with Rattler the other way for their first touchdown. More misdirection, more confusion, eye candy. A lot of different parts to this offense would be with the pre-snap movement and then just the accuracy. You have a quarterback in Rattler, for the most part, this game has just been comfortable throwing the ball kind of on his terms where he's got his feet set and able to make accurate throws.
Looking to throw on first down. Mims again in space. Ooh, they almost knocked the ball loose. But another big play in the Cowboy territory.
Yeah, Rodarius Williams almost caught up to him and pulled that out. But it's good blocking. You see Drake Stoops out in front. Also see Hall does a nice job, gives him that crease. And right there, 8 almost jarred that ball loose after the big gain, but he holds on.
Third catch for Mims.
Pretty good start.
65 yards already.
21 a catch.
He's averaging almost 17 per catch coming in. Again, first down, play action. Rattler back pedals, lost downfield, and incomplete. Charleston Rambo trying to work back to the ball. Holmes in coverage.
Yeah, there's a flag in that backfield. Usually you would see a hold where they're discussing. Might have been a left tackle there, Swenson.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer.
Wow.
Defense number 96. 15-yard penalty.
Wow.
An automatic first down. Contact to the quarterback's head.
And the freshman from Texas, and another costly penalty on the folks who cannot afford it. I don't know either. He kind of bumped into him. Rattler didn't even go down.
Almost right as he released the ball. That's why I was more focused on which of the linemen held. I was surprised. Mike Gundy just kind of taking it. Surprised.
You'd think he'd be losing it. Ball to 30. Hand off to Stevenson. Bill Lamagnier joins us. Bill, was there enough there to draw a 15-yard penalty, in your opinion?
I just saw him coming straight in. There wasn't any forcible helmet contact.
When you work a rivalry game like this, it has a lot of history. Are the officials a little bit on edge? Are they looking for stuff more than they should in a normal game?
You're looking for more of the stuff like you commented earlier about the hit near the sideline.
Yeah.
The yapping at each other.
Yeah.
That's the things you want to key on. Otherwise, let them play football.
Yeah. With you.
2nd and 12 now. Stevenson's got it again. This Oklahoma offensive line had high expectations coming in here. You got 4 guys that all came in the same recruiting class: Hayes, Humphrey, Robinson, Ely. So they worked a long time together. I don't know if they've met their own expectations so far, but certainly beginning to click in recent games.
Yeah, they have. And I think the continuity, this is a group that played a lot of football last year, but everything that we've all been dealing with, including this offense and this offensive line, a lot of new parts around the offensive line. But with Humphrey up front, they're going to another level.
Free play here. Rattler slings it. Catch made. Down inside the 10 or 15 is Rambo. Cowboys got anxious there. And Rattler used the free play very wisely.
Yeah, well, Rattler did a nice job with his clap, getting that defensive line to jump. And once he recognized he had that free play, he just looks off to the right and not able to find another open receiver. He's spreading it around.
Defense number 1 in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
He's already hit 7 different receivers.
Yep. That's what they've been doing, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
No real ultra marquee elite receiver, though Mims is certainly beginning to emerge as a freshman. He's got a monster future, but excellent job of spreading it around. That's part play calling and part quarterback.
Well, how good is Lincoln Riley, though? I mean, how good is he?
We know.
I mean, it's just so much fun to watch him. I mean, it's not fun for an Oklahoma State fan right now, but as just a fan of the sport, over the years, him working with offenses and working with quarterbacks especially.
41-8 in his head coaching career here. Stevenson hasn't really busted loose. Cowboys did a pretty good job on 29 as a runner tonight.
Yeah, they have. And just one last thing about Lincoln, I thought it was interesting. He worked with Baker Mayfield, who transferred in, more of a veteran. He worked with Kyler Murray, who transferred in, more of a veteran. Jalen Hurts transferred in. This is a redshirt freshman. He said, I've spent more time talking to him about how to prepare, how to lead, how to manage the game, which is a very different approach than the 3 previous that have had so much success for him.
You said the extra teaching was fun.
Yeah.
Nice to have a guy you can have for multiple years, too. Rattler, last year, they got into a few games, but they've got him for a while here. Stevenson working hard. He's just a physical guy to tackle. Rodriguez and Arvell Peel combined.
I really think Rattler came in with, kind of a swagger about him as a highly touted recruit. And I think sitting behind Jalen Hurts was the best thing that could have happened to him last year in learning about truly being a professional and the approach to your job and how much work it takes. You can't just kind of come out there and be a big-time player. That and being benched this year in the Texas game, it was like, what? You're benching me? And I think that was an eye-opener about how real it is and what it takes to be, a great player.
Got pulled for 2 series, came back, game was on the field at the end of that overtime victory. Screen, Pledger slips down. Wasn't much room there anyway, so the Cowboy defense gets a stop there on 3rd down and forces another field goal attempt.
Yeah, they were flying to the football there, really nowhere to go. Both the Harper brothers, you see Thomas and Devin doing a good job of running the football, and Rodarius Williams kind of setting that edge out there at his corner spot. Defense does their job again. The last 2 drives, not allowing touchdowns, making them kick field goals.
Perkins, by the way, from Ohio, a sophomore, is a preseason All-American. Extremely reliable. This from 29 yards. And Oklahoma 5 possessions. They get points on all 5, but the last 2 have been field goals. 27-7 midway, second quarter is Norman.
To win the game.
He said it straight.
Right.
There was no moral victory.
Win the game.
Johnson again. Ooh, knocked sideways and spirals to the 24-yard line. Holly?
Well, guys, there was history tonight in this stadium. For the first time in the 57-year history of the Sooner Schooner, a woman was driving. Senior Darby Dean, president of the Little Sis organization, had the reins tonight. She's been working since August to be a driver, 6 hours a week, getting to know the ponies, learning how to keep them on the rein, make sure that they understand and know her voice, can obey commands, and a really successful run. 2 successful trips for Darby Dean. History tonight for Boomer Sooner.
It's very cool, Holly. It looks like the ponies have had a pep talk. They're running around a little bit better than they were in the first quarter. Ball batted down, spiked by Trey Norwood from the safety position.
Great to see Trey Norwood back on this defense. Out a year ago, red-shirted with an injury. Little blitz, but he knows he's not going to get there. Athletic enough to go up and make a play on the ball. I think he's disappointed he didn't intercept it. He's that athletic. Former corner now playing that safety nickel spot.
Hubbard into a crease. Chuba Hubbard. And that's one of his better runs this season. He's shoved out of bounds. Wallace got a block, and there is a flag on the Sooners for knocking Hubbard out, and that'll cost him 15 more. He's waited all year. Yeah. You can see a smile on his face.
Finally, yeah, he gets out, and this offense has needed an explosive play in that run game. Woodward on the right guard, and they've actually moved Josh Sills to right tackle with Jenkins out of the game. But a big run and great blocks on that right side.
Thinking about Chuba, who averaged 6.4 a carry a year ago. 6.0 the year before, was down well under 5 yards a carry coming in. Just hasn't been healthy, hasn't been as explosive, and he's playing hurt tonight. He's far from 100%, but that was a much needed spark for the ground game.
Absolutely.
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Defense, number 24, 15-yard penalty, first down.
You got
Asamoah.
Yeah, tight end makes a block here, but it's really the right guard, right tackle, Sills and Woodard. Watch him double team. He bounces, kind of gets off away from the backers who are in tight, got caught up in traffic, and then this is what he does well. You're talking about a 2,000-yard back that needs space to work, and finally is able to get out there, and that's the little push, and it's obviously because it was so far out of bounds is why they called that.
Cowboys threatening now at the 33. L.D. Brown is the back. Earlier tonight, it was unsportsmanlike on Radley Hiles that prolonged the drive that led to Oklahoma State's only point so far. Ellingworth is not really a runner. At 6'6", he's out there in space, and he's knocked down by Benito after a 2-yard gain.
No, he's not a runner, but he was at least decisive. You know, you like to see that. And truly, I mean, if Oklahoma State's going to have consistency, they need balance. They need to be able to run the ball. The line of scrimmage has not worked out for them. They've had the injury to Jenkins, who's out of the game, and Sills, who is the left guard, is now back at right tackle, and they've had to move a lot of different parts. Preston Wilson is now in as well.
Brown slung down. I was going to say they're in positive territory for rushing yards after these took place. Back in the negative as Perkins slings him down for a loss.
Perkins is just making plays, and if you give him just enough room to be able to get upfield, that's what they do. The pulling guard had no chance. Alex Grinch wants this team to penetrate. They're one-gap defense, get upfield, and I'm telling you, it's a different defensive line. It's not just Ronnie Perkins that you have to worry about. There's athletic ability and aggression across the board this year for this defense.
Empty backfield. Brown is to the near side. 5 receivers. Illingworth. They're just trying to get the ball to Wallace on these fades, hoping for a flag, and they got one there on Trey Brown.
They slowed him down. Wallace is trying to work behind Trey Brown. Trey Brown has played a lot of football, 3-year starter.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 6. 15-yard penalty and an automatic. First down.
See the confidence that they have to leave him out there against Wallace. He's good here, and then he gets in the way. Once he kind of locks up with the receiver, that's where the flag came in. He couldn't allow Wallace to work around him.
He's been the most targeted DB in this Oklahoma defense. He's the guy that made the pass breakup in the 2-point conversion here 2 years ago to secure the win against the Cowboys.
As you said, can they finish the drive? Red zone has been a trouble spot all year, dead last in the conference, and being able to put touchdowns on the board when they get down to the red area.
Big time. Need 7, not 3 here. Play clock down at 2. Illingworth again throws for Wallace, and it's just way out of bounds. DJ Graham and Benito pressured him.
Alex Grinch telling us that, they're continuing to evaluate and recruiting, and they want to get bigger, longer, more physical at corner. DJ Graham would be an example of that. 5'11", 200-pound true freshman. He and Woody Washington, the freshman number 0, gives you an idea of the future of this secondary.
On second down, slamming forward and then slam backwards. It'll be 3rd down and long.
I mean, Ronnie Perkins is everywhere. He seems to be making every tackle tonight.
You can see from the very first play, he came out with an attitude tonight, kind of a possessed mindset. Another little jawing after the play.
Just watch Ronnie on this play right here. He's over here. Watch how he works and eventually gets to the ball. You just love to see defensive lineman eyes on the ball, comes off the block, and just because his eyes are looking at the ball carrier, he's able to work through there and eventually get there and make a play.
They need 7 to keep plans alive to reach the end zone here. Hubbard back in the game. Play clock winding down for the freshman. Got to hurry. And there was some pre-snap issues there. It's hard to get really chippy now.
Looked like Benito 11, unless there was a delay of game. Benito 11 definitely got off to an early start.
The play clock was winding down. I don't know if they were guilty of a delay.
There's no foul for false start. Timeout, Oklahoma. Their first of the half.
So Riley spends a timeout on defense. 3rd and 7 when you come back. The OU 18.
17 all at the half. Back to you guys.
All right, Kevin, thank you. 3rd and 7 here. And they're going to try to run for it with Hubbard. And he slips as he tries to make a cut. He'll lose yardage. Illingworth has been struggling. 5 straight incompletions. Kirk, they didn't want to throw for it on 3rd and long.
Oh, but they want to get the ball in the hands of a playmaker. And you got man-to-man on the outside, but you just can't. Hubbard is being gets outflanked by the defense. Good team speed that time. Trey Brown, Turner Yell getting to the outside, and he tried to cut it back, but obviously loses his footing.
So Brady Pohl pressed into service again because Alex Hale, the super reliable kicker, injured his leg in warm-up. Hold your breath if you're the Cowboys here. Yeah, knocks it right through. Good looking field goal. Not again what they're hoping for.
Just kind of keeping them around. They just need a turnover. They need a break to get them really back in this game.
They haven't stopped the Sooners offense yet. 3 touchdowns to begin the game, 2 field goals since. And that's Pledger knocked down at the 20. The Bear, Chris Felica, losing record the following year. Okay. Rattler incomplete. Kind of miscommunication with Theo Howard on that left side.
Yeah, just a timing route, not quite on the same page. I just feel like it's been better coverage the last few series by the secondary. Rodarius Williams is making some plays. Bernard Converse doing a better job. We even saw Harvell Peel out there playing man-to-man. Jim Knowles will get aggressive and get those safeties up.
Stevenson strung out and pushed out after a short gain. Had the big 45-yard catch a couple plays into this game.
Boy, his stiff arm is becoming legendary in the Big 12. I mean, these defensive backs, when you're looking at film, the poor Kansas defensive backs, I almost felt bad for him trying to tackle him. The stiff arm, and then he just runs him over. So
I was just thinking college of Derrick Henry, would you say?
Yeah.
Stiff arm?
Yeah, but he's that stiff arm, but I think his low center of gravity, because he's 6 feet tall with 245 pounds, he's like a bowling ball. He builds up momentum. You don't want to get in his way.
Arms not as long as Henry, of course, but very few running backs are. Rattler, a flag comes out. He's slung down by Rodriguez. This is with the holding zone.
Yeah, they're going to get a hold, which would get this defense off the field.
More scuffles. This has really gotten chippy here.
Of course, that's the last thing you want to see. Oklahoma State, if this is, in fact, a holding call, they get a chance to get off the field and get their offense back out there with 4 minutes to go.
And here's the indication from David Alvarez.
Holding. Offense. Number 77, that penalty is declined. That will bring up 4th down.
That's the tackle, Swenson. So Cowboys do get their first stop of the night.
See, on the left side there, as Rattler tries to make a move to the left, Swenson just wraps up Bundage there on the pass rush. So again, they get the ball back here. See what happens.
The Selden Muse Reeves Munshaw on to punt for the first time tonight. Cowboys peel back, try to set up the return. And the catch is made at the 35-yard line. And not much room for Dylan Stoner. So 3:49 before halftime. Chance for the Pokes to try to cut into this 17-point lead. Brown is the tailback here. Cowboys can get the football to begin the third quarter. If they can do something here, they feel a lot better about things at halftime. Illingworth on play action. Slings it downfield. Catch made by Wallace. He left him alone to the sidelines, and he's inside the Sooner 40.
He didn't leave him alone. I think he lost his balance, or I don't know where Trey Brown went. He was in coverage out here on the right. Watch the matchup. He just loses his footing, and he's down the sidelines for about 10 yards. The last guy in the world you want to leave alone is Tylan Wallace, but they'll take it.
Third catch for Wallace.
Good patience there by Illingworth to wait to eventually make that throw.
It had to feel good. He came in again when Sanders got slung to the ground with an apparent head injury. He came off the bench. He made 3 completions in a touchdown drive. After that, he missed his next 5.
We're reviewing if the receiver went out of bounds prior to the catch.
Yeah, Chris, it's going to be a matter of whether he was pushed. He's definitely out of bounds. Was he pushed out of bounds, or did he just step out of bounds? We talked a lot about Brown going downfield, but watch the feet of Wallace.
Definitely, well,
better
look to see if his feet actually hit the paint over there.
Oh, this would be a good look at it. If you were to rewind that, you could maybe see even before his feet looked like they were close to being out of bounds. That was a great angle.
You pointed out there was contact with Brown. He gets shoved out and come back and reestablish. It's an important review because the ball is, as it stands now, placed at the 39-yard line. It was the first completion in a while for Illingworth. It's a tough assignment. You come in pressed into duty here, and you got a defense that is very stoked up tonight, very inspired. Oklahoma unit with Grinch dialing up the pressure.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
So Wallace did reestablish.
Well, here's the look. See him working towards that sideline. Boy, he's very, very close, and if he did end up staying in bounds, that's impressive.
So it is a first down catch. And the ball at the 39-yard line. Cowboys have all three of their timeouts if they need them. Brown is the back. Deep in the pistol. And powering forward down near the 30-yard line before Woody Washington stopped him.
Well, it's great to see these backs get a little bit of chance to get out in space. We've seen Hubbard and now Brown, and they're getting away from some of that pressure and all those twists and slanting and angling from Alex Grinch and that defensive line. Get them outside where they can work and have some blockers outside with some area where you can hit a seam and a crease.
Look at the rush yard totals. It has not been about the ground game tonight. Presley, the freshman, looking to heave the ball downfield, and a flag comes in. It was Brown in coverage against Wallace on the end-around receiver pass. Presley has scored a touchdown against Kansas State on a jet sweep in his first pass attempt.
Yeah, you can almost tell, like, he's either about to have a significant loss or he's going to have to throw this football. And Brown again.
Part of the pass. Holding. Defense. Number 6. 10-yard penalty and an automatic. First down.
Brown, who appeared to get poked in the eye covering that punt a few minutes ago. Flag for the hold.
Yep. Brown, you'll see him work on this near the top. He just kind of gets caught up right there. Just grabs onto the jersey. It's a holding call.
It bailed Presley out because that was not a real accurate throw. That was nowhere near Wallace. Holding or no holding. You work those plays in practice, you figure, what are the chances they're actually going to call it in the game? Presley had a chance there. Crowd thought there was a flinch in the offensive line. Now they'll set for play here. Hubbard back in the game on first down. They fake it to him. Ellingworth launching for the end zone, and he overthrew Stoner, who had a step on Graham.
Well, he did. He pulled away from him near the end of the route. Stoner has great size and runs terrific routes. It's a true freshman trying to stay with him. See, Stoner's got some acceleration. He goes right by the young corner. Ball just thrown over his head.
He tried to adjust back to it. He had that ball closer to the goalpost, right? He had a touchdown. Nothing doing in the middle. Hubbard stopped. It'll be third and long. Isaiah Thomas on the tackle.
Yeah, that offensive line for most of the night has really struggled to handle that defense and the scheme, along with the talent led by Ronnie Perkins, number 7.
Grinch said he'd been very disappointed if his guys weren't winning big against this offensive line.
That's what we've seen. Yeah, now it sets up this big third down. I want to see if they help with Wallace at the top. You've got Woody Washington matched up with him. You see the safety. Let's see what he does. Is he going to stay up top? Looks like he will.
Yeah, it's single coverage. We'll look at the other side, threw it into traffic, trying to find Landon Wolf. Did he decide before the snap where he was going with that? That wasn't the right choice.
Well, he's looking here to see if this man's going to work down to the middle or work down, and then you get an ISO with your best receiver. Instead, he works to the outside, and because of that, now you got to find another weapon. You got a double team. Wallace didn't even end up running the route. He stayed in. They worked that to the left. When you get double teamed, you need to find other receivers that can win some matchups, but that pass never really had a chance. It wasn't thrown downfield.
We saw Radley Hiles in coverage. He'd been benched after that earlier penalty, but he's back in the ball game. As they found a pretty good backup kicker. He knocked it through. Pole did, and another field goal. The other game, as we talked about, hasn't been there. Play Ledger let it bounce over his head. So kind of dropped off. We were not thinking 39 and 43.
Those aren't even fun. Nobody can answer those.
Option look here. Stevenson takes the pitch. That'll make old-time Sooner fans. It wasn't exactly like the wishbone, but you got a pitch on the perimeter and a nice gain on first down.
Little speed option. Rattler is not much of a threat, again, as a runner. Defense not necessarily respecting that, so they're locked in on Stevenson. And I'm surprised so far, not in a big rush.
Got a couple timeouts here.
I thought they'd be in attack mode.
They don't like it here because they're just standing over the ball. But Oklahoma State makes a substitute. That's because Oklahoma made a substitute on offense. So, not very good clock management.
Ball went out. Rambo came in.
Yeah. Which allows the Cowboys to slowly make a substitute. On the scramble, on the run, incomplete. Tried to get it to Drake Stoops. Man, is he comfortable throwing the football on the run? That wasn't his best.
I think at times you really watch him. He can throw from the pocket all day, but I'm with you. He looks so much more natural as a guy on the move, whether he's moving to the outside, to his left, to his right, if it's stepping up in the pocket, and the ball just kind of floats out of his hand. It's so natural.
Excellent efficiency outside the pocket. He's got 7 touchdown passes on the move this year. That's a lot for a college quarterback. 7 of his 18. 3rd and 5, though. Cowboys pressure him, and the throw just lands on the turf. Trace Ford's been a problem for that front.
Watch what he does here. Instead of letting him work to the outside, he's here, and then instead of letting the scramble, he keeps him inside that pocket and makes him throw from in there. Instead of collapsing down, see how he puts his foot in the ground, works to the outside, will not let him break contain. At the same time, closing in on him, and with his size, all Rattler could do there was just throw the ball away. And another good job there by Jim Knowles' defense.
You talked about Ford. He's kind of a salty presence out there. He was a guy who looked a little bit pissed off by the way this defense started, and he's turned things around along with this Cowboy defense. Stoner again, not much room to run, dragged down.
We talk about this matchup. We've seen some one-on-one opportunities with Wallace against Trey Brown. It's been a good battle. We've seen Wallace win some. We've seen Brown at times win some. This is late in the last possession. And Wallace is the guy that can do both things. He can get downfield and make plays. He can catch it underneath and shake you. But Trey Brown doing everything he can against one of the top receivers in college football.
Yeah, they tried to target Wallace 9 times. It's only a .333 batting average, 3 catches in those 9 targets. That's a
look at that
excellent job.
Yeah, 2 years ago, last time he played against the Sooners, 220 yards.
So again, the Cowboys, a chance here. They got all 3 timeouts, 34 seconds. They're going to feel adventurous? No. There's your answer to the question here as they just hand the ball off to L.D. Brown. They'll get it again to start the second half, and I think after the way this game began, Gundy probably okay with being down only 14.
Yeah, considering they're down 21-0, 9 minutes into the start of the game. Chris, last couple possessions in the red zone, if you get one of them as a touchdown, think about where you are. If you get both of them as a touchdown, think about where you are. So they've got to feel confident about how they settled into the game and got this thing back where they were able to compete.
And the defense a much better job against Rattler in the second quarter. But the fast start for the Sooners put them in commanding position, and they'll take a 14-point lead to intermission here in Norman. Coming up, happen at Bedlam. Johnson with a chance from the 4. And he's a good returner. He navigates his way out across the 35-yard line. And
touchdowns up and played much better late in that first half.
Brown and Hubbard limited to 42 combined rushing yards in the first half. Freshman trying to throw it on first down over the head of Wolf, who is trying to run between defenders. Holly?
Well, guys, I was able to speak with Mike Gundy coming out of the locker room at halftime. He said Spencer got dinged up, obviously, but they are continuing to check with him throughout the game and see if he's making any progress or just kind of being cautious and see where he's at. I'm not ruling out that he could return to this game, but it doesn't seem likely at this point. But they are continuing to check on him. It may not be over for him yet.
Gundy, meanwhile, Holly, saying this was the hardest working team he'd had in his 16 years at Oklahoma State. 2020's been tough, and it reveals a lot about team chemistry and culture and toughness and resilience, and they've all been positives for Oklahoma State. This is Brown on the toss. May not be enough to allow them to come back and win this game, but they're in there battling.
Just too slow development. You're going against a defense that's flying to the football in that first half, and it's just there's nobody outside to pick up Washington, and he turns it back inside, and you can see how fast that Oklahoma defense is flying that time, pursuing to the football.
Third downs have been a problem, as you might expect. 2 for 7 against the Sooner defense. Illingworth, pressure by Benito, who got his hand up and knocked it down. And once again, OU's pass rush imposing.
He's actually fortunate that Benito got that, because if not, it's a touchdown. A pick six with Washington, who's out there ready to pick it off. Right there, you see him out there to your left. Washington just really well coached. They get pressure. Everybody's in position. If he threw that football, because he kind of threw it blinded, if he threw that, Washington would have intercepted it and walked to the end zone.
Benito, talented, kind of hybrid player. So get that out of here. And the lefty Hutton gets the punt away. And it's fair caught by Mims at the 38-yard line. See if they can reset the offense to begin the third quarter. Rattler 13 of 19. Ogbongbemiga heads to the sidelines. Kind of one of those little rules. Didn't have the jersey tucked in. Stevenson and a big catch early in that first quarter. Very few productive running plays. Holly?
Well, guys, as I was heading towards the sideline in this first half, Spencer Rattler caught my eye and kind of waved at me. I said, hey, you're doing great in your first Bedlam. He said, we're about to turn it up here in the second half. He always says people mistake confidence with cocky. He's just very confident.
Say that again. But he's pressured and sacked. Flying in there was Tyler Lacey off the end, and the Pokes big play.
Yeah, I thought Swenson, the left tackle, might be there to pick him up, but I think they're trying to get the right guard to come all the way. 52, who's trying to get there, but quick reaction by Lacey, who's had a really solid year as a sophomore. Does a good job of getting off blocks, but that time nobody was there to block him.
Sooners had allowed only 14 sacks coming in. The Cowboys have 3 tonight, and now it's 3rd and 13.
Watch Trace Ford here going up against Swenson.
2-back look. Pleasure and Stevenson in the game. A lot of time for Rattler. He's chased now, and he'll be dragged down. About a yard loss, efficient. Another sack, and it's Ford that time.
Yeah, he was actually handled pretty well by Ford, or actually by Swenson. See, pushes him, steps up, but good coverage downfield makes Rattler hold on to the ball. And instead of finding a check down to get the ball out of his hands, he has to eat it, and eventually Ford catches up to him. There's that energy.
He is fired up tonight.
Yeah.
And this defense has stepped up really to keep this football team in the game. Despite, that's a booming punt, by the way, from one shot. Wow. Flag down, and Stoner tries to navigate another flag down. The block was thrown at the 6-yard line. So there's 2 flags on the field, one early and one late.
I think they're both going to be on Oklahoma State.
Well, that'll mean they're really backed up to begin this drive then. But this defense, reeling early, has really done their job, holding the Sooners to just 2 field goals since, where the offense can work their way back in. And as you pointed out, it comes down simply to red zone execution for Oklahoma State. They're going to have to do much better in the second half to stage a comeback here.
Well, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, man, you got to be loving Trace Ford's energy. Start this second half, comes up with that sack with the help of coverage, but comes off the field.
Loving the fact that he's a sophomore. They had him for a while, rushing the passer. Long conference as they sort out the multiple flags on this play. Oklahoma came out, Kirk. I thought they played with a tremendous amount of urgency. They're the team that cannot afford a loss to stay in the conference race.
On the play, both on the receiving team. Blocking the back during the return, receiving team. Number 18, that penalty is declined. During the kick, holding. Receiving team, number 0. That penalty we enforce half the distance to the goal, first down.
Big 12 standings. Iowa State in a shutout of K-State to go to 6-1. The Cyclones are in pretty good shape. They visit Texas next week. Obviously, Oklahoma, Kirk coming in at 4-2, could not afford a loss. To keep alive their streak of conference championships, had to win this game.
And going back to your point about urgency, I'm sure that Lincoln Riley challenged him, saying, hey, we got a Big 12 championship opportunity on the line tonight.
Flag down. Those penalties backed up the Cowboys to the 4.
They're going to get pushed back again. Right guard Woodard moving.
Penalty markers on the blood.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense. Number 70, half the distance, still first down.
Charlie Dickey, the offensive line coach, he's had a tough job because of all the guys we talked about. 6 or 7 would-be starters not here. And Mike Gundy said, it's been a disaster for me. That was his assessment of the offensive line this year, a disaster.
And it continued tonight with Trey Jenkins going down with an injury and moving Josh Sills from left guard to right tackle, and Preston Wilson as a freshman in at left guard. It's like a revolving door.
4 Cowboys in the end zone in the backfield as Illingworth hands off to Chuba, who gets it out to the 7-yard line. With the way they penetrated and disrupted the backfield, you got to hold your breath when you got 4 guys in the backfield standing in the paint.
Standing in the paint, and you got a defense that's entire mission is to get vertical, get upfield, and try to get TFLs. They get a little bit of breathing room.
They do. Makes it 2nd and 8. Couple tight ends in the game along with Hubbard, who's got it. And he picks his way up the middle. It sets up a 3rd and about 3.
I was a little surprised, when at halftime when the teams came together and there's some pushing and shoving. You and I were watching it when we went into halftime. Wanted to see if there were any players who was involved. And man, 30 was right in the middle of it.
Sure was.
Passionate, emotional, trying to challenge the OU players.
One of the guys who had his helmet off, and he was jumping around being very vocal. Sooners jump offside here. This will give Oklahoma State a first down.
Great job with that hard count by the quarterback, Illingworth. Nowadays it's not so much the cadence, it's with the snap.
Defense.
Or the clap, rather.
Number 86 entered the neutral zone, causing the offense to move. The yardage results in a first down.
And Illingworth from the pocket slings it high, a little too high for Presley.
They're doing a lot. He's got a big arm. They're throwing a lot of balls since he's been in horizontally towards the sideline. Long throws from the hash to the sideline. I thought they might want to try to attack the seams and try to attack more upfield, not just with Wallace, but guys like Johnson.
Presley at 5'8" would be a lot more comfortable running inside. A flag down. Perkins with a collision. Hubbard, they've been at each other tonight. And Asamoah also in there.
Looked like a face mask, didn't it? Perkins, remember we showed who's getting chippy? Hubbard and Perkins were involved in that. And look, I think they're getting for a face mask.
Hubbard and Aguebo exchanging pleasantries.
Face mask. Defense, number 7. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot and an automatic. First down.
A lot of things are building right now on both sides. This is something the officials are going to have to keep an eye on, and the coaching staffs as well. There's the penalty.
Oh, yeah.
Got his money's worth. Wow.
Goodness. And by the way, it was going to be 3rd and 8. Now you get an automatic first down.
And Perkins won't sit this one out. The penalties against this Oklahoma defense have been costly and kind of helping a struggling offense prolong drives several times tonight. Play action on first down. Illingworth trying to scramble, just has to throw it away. He can feel Thomas breathing down his neck.
But usually you see Perkins and a good job by Benito, but you're going to see a stunt here, and it's actually 95 who does a nice job, Isaiah Thomas, of pushing and fighting and forcing Illingworth to get out of the pocket. And remember, you don't have the athletic ability. Sanders he's got feet. He can get out of there and make something happen. You lose that with 3 not being in the lineup.
Crowd booing. They wanted an intentional ground.
Yeah.
It was not.
That's if you're an OU defender, you're Alex Grinch. All of a sudden, 16 can throw it, but he cannot move.
Can they get Kirk Wallace the football in single coverage? They need an electric kind of play, and he's the guy that can do it. The ground game with Hubbard, that's a productive run, but they just don't have home run ability right now at the tailback position.
I know because of what's happening also with the offensive line, losing that battle. But I'll tell you, that was a pretty good effort by Hubbard just to get his hand down, keep his balance, and instead of getting a 1 or 2 yard gain, he kept fighting, and now he gives him a chance here on 3rd and 4.
Illingworth 1 for his last 12. If you're suited for anything, and just don't commit a penalty on this play. And they try to get it to Wallace, incomplete. Pat Fields, the safety in coverage, and it's 4th down.
You know, Illingworth being a younger quarterback, he may have predetermined that he wanted to get the ball to Hubbard, who was working from the inside to the outside. But boy, he had 17. Stoner wide open, who was already sitting at the 1st down marker. If he just would have seen him, instead I think he locked in on Hubbard and didn't have much of a chance.
So 1 for his last 13. That cannot be a comfortable feeling mentally for a quarterback, being that kind of a skid. Hutton, trademark low kick. And Memphis makes the completion. 3 straight 3-and-outs for this Oklahoma offense, and now Ramondre Stevenson, a 1st down run, picks up 10 yards to the 35. Holly?
Well, Chris, as you mentioned, Chuba Hubbard had been nursing a right ankle injury that limited him in the last game against Kansas State, and he has just re-aggravated that injury. I saw him tell a coach that he is struggling. The coach said, "Okay, LD Brown, it's on you. Let's go."
Rattler took a pump fake and now takes off. And he's very judicious when he runs. He gets shoved right near the sideline by Sterling, but it's a 1st down into Pokes territory.
Yeah, everybody is thinking that Rattler's going to throw the ball to his left over here, but instead he's going to follow guard out here to his right. Design quarterback draw. Does a nice job just getting behind the big guy Robinson, but you can see that there's no one there to block. The entire defense running to the field thinking the ball is going to be thrown.
It's his 10th run, or should be 8th run of over 10 yards. That's a good number for a quarterback who's not known as a natural runner. Picks his spots. Stevenson trying to get the corner and is knocked out hard. Big collision with Thomas Harper on the sideline, but he picked up about 6.
Yeah, that was a big-time collision there. Harper not backing down. Keep in mind he's 5'10", 180 pounds. That's 245 pounds. He puts his shoulder right in there, knocks him backwards. Solid, clean hit.
He did knock him backwards. Only a 4-yard gain. That's a hit on a 246-pound running back. Rattler slings it downfield, and nobody there except a couple of Cowboy defenders. Bernard Converse. Mims was trying to close back, but really no chance to make a play.
No, but you just felt that it was coming. They're doing what they want. They're going more tempo on this drive. They got Oklahoma State a little bit more defensive on their heels, and they're being the aggressor. Why not take a shot there? See what they do now on 3rd down.
He's got 9 touchdowns on Depot. That's the same number as Kyle Trask and Mac Jones had. 2 quarterbacks in the SEC coming into today. Haven't had a deep connection yet. 3rd and 6. Time runs out, and he tries to run for it. Up with a sling it to Stevenson, who uses that stiff arm. It's right near the marker, but he'll be spotted a yard short. Ford made the play, and it's 4th down.
You know Lincoln Riley's going to go for this 4th and short. Brings in a couple tight ends.
Well, right at the 40. They need a full yard. A couple of tight ends. 246-pounder tailback. Cowboy defense, though, a chance if they can get a stop, would set their offense up in good field position. And it's Rattler keeping it. Breaks the tackle and spins for a 1st down inside the 35.
You know, he's not Kyler Murray, he's not Jalen Hurts, but of course, I think it's right. He's more like Baker. You know, I mean, Baker was an athlete. Baker could do things, but he would do just enough to make you have to respect it. And I think that's what Rattler is becoming in this offense. You get so caught up in Stevenson, you get caught up in the passing game that you forget, and he's going to remind you, and you've seen it on this drive alone, that he can make you pay for it.
Got to remember that's a young quarterback, first year starting, and you follow 3 college football legends at the position here. Mayfield, Murray, and Jalen Hurd all led the FBS in yards per play, and that is a serious measuring stick. All of them 8 or more yards per play. That's ridiculous.
Again, you got to think about that. 8.3 per play.
Yeah.
8.6. 8 yards a play.
6.9 is really good for Rattler.
Yeah, it is.
In the FBS.
I mean, you're talking about for an entire season, not a game. With this offense, and that's what we've grown accustomed to from the Sooners.
Pledger on the pitch. It's a block from Stoops on the perimeter and picks up 9.
I told you, I mean, I think you forget about TJ Pledger because you now have Stevenson back. But don't you notice when you get, especially in the second half, his legs are so live because he's not carrying the load now. He can be a complement to the more powerful Stevenson.
Haven't seen Seth McGowan tonight. The talented true freshman from Dallas has had a nice season so far. It's been Pledger spelling Stevenson, going with the veterans. Need a yard on this third down. Little wrinkle here. It's a direct snap. And Pledger is drilled. Hit in the backfield and driven back by safety Trey Sterling. And it's 4th down and 3 now.
Well, good job by the defensive line occupying all the offensive linemen. But right here, Sterling, a veteran, does a nice job staying outside and then is able to sneak in underneath the block there of Marquise Hayes and makes a big play there on 3rd down.
So Burkich on to attempt a field goal. That is an enormous stop for this Cowboy defense as they try to stay within striking distance. Burkich from 43, and he missed it.
Off after the way they played today.
So it's Brown. We'll see if Hubbard, who did grab his helmet and seemed to change his mind in that last offensive series by Oklahoma. Holly, any idea whether Hubbard has rethought his opinion about giving this game to Brown?
Yeah, he keeps fussing with that right ankle and putting weight on it, pushing off on it, and I saw him grab his helmet and say, okay, I might try. Like, he's really fighting through it right now. He wants to be out there.
Adrenaline is a powerful painkiller, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But as a tailback, it's tough to have one of your wheels hurting you like that.
Brown, and just another slow developing play. Look at him work hard. Weibo able to wrestle him down. Here's what happened to Hubbard on that incomplete pass short time ago, aggravating that ankle injury. Took the hit from Fields. Awkward looking.
Yeah, you can see him grimacing right away. When you come into a game and it's already hurting, you're doing everything you can, and we saw this even at times in the Kansas State game. He'd come in for a possession, he'd go out for a few possessions, just doing the best he can and limit the amount of carries and the wear and tear that he has on it, but bring him back in on 3rd and short.
That's a big play here. Time leaking away in the 3rd quarter. Cowboys need 1. Play clock winding down. Illingworth better hurry. Now they're going to have to take a timeout, I think. Hubbard noticed the play clock. His quarterback did not. And they were able to get the timeout. That's a veteran running back saying, hey, this is a big play. Let's not make it 3rd and 6. Let's spend the timeout right here. We talked about this rivalry and Mike Gundy's lack of success as an underdog against the Sooners here, and his team has shown a bunch of character. You've been impressed the way this game started. 21-0 in a heartbeat. You thought, uh-oh, here we go. Sooners might score 60. Cowboys have done well, I think, to hang around here.
They have, and not to mention you've got offensive line injuries where they had to reshuffle things, which has been a problem all year. And you lose your quarterback who brings mobility when you're losing the fight. And so now you've got Illingworth back there who's very efficient, is throwing the ball when he has time. But I hate to keep bringing up the streak that you brought up. What is he, one of his last, 13?
Yes.
Whatever it is?
Yes. On 3rd and 1. A running play seems likely. This is Brown, back in the game, and he's able to work for a 1st down.
One of the things that you can do when you're losing that battle up front is try to go even a little faster with tempo, try to wear down that defensive line. But with Illingworth in there, you're not necessarily seeing that as an approach at this point with Mike Gundy. But they've thrown a lot. I keep saying they're throwing a lot of things out in the flats. I think they're going to try to start attacking downfield more.
Illingworth looked downfield, and now we'll just fire it over the head of Wallace and into the bench. It's been hard to find open receivers. Benito pressuring him that time again.
Yeah, that was good coverage. That play took a long time to develop. You know, we haven't even barely called Dylan Stoner's name tonight. I mean, I don't want to put everything on Wallace's back. Stoner's got, you know, I think 3 targets. I don't think he's made a catch tonight. But he's a really good weapon, not to mention 8. Braden Johnson. So they have people that can win one-on-one. Just can't find them.
You know, only 6 completions. Cowboy quarterback 6 for 24. Deshaun Jackson, not that one. The junior running back is in the game. And pressure again. And just leaning back and throwing into the bench. That time it was Isaiah Thomas taking his turn at pressuring the quarterback. 4th down.
Again, you're getting pressure from Thomas. It's same stunt where they love to mix things up, where you get here and you go here. Effective communication up front and just use athletic ability and quickness to be able to affect the quarterback. And I think right now as a young quarterback, Illingworth is very in tune with the pass rush and looking down at that pass rush.
No mistake, 3rd and 10, not 4th down, so they have a chance here.
It's number 16. The quarterback was inside the tackle box, and there was not a receiver in the area. Lost it down from the spot of the pass.
You got the tackle box shaded, and he's been kind of flirting with intentional grounding tonight. Yeah, that's time they got him.
Yeah, I think Woods, the tight end, see on the left, 89. That's about the only receiver that's even remotely close to the football. But he was inside the tackle box area and just threw it.
That makes it a really comfortable 3rd and 18. Jackson is still the bat. They get it out very quickly. Wolf slammed down way short of the 1st down. And now it's 4th down. Washington stopped them.
Boy, Alex Grinch has got to be so proud of what this defense is doing tonight. You can say whatever you want about, you know, Oklahoma State, their offensive line issues. You got a backed up quarterback. You know, he's trying to build pride within a unit. 2nd year in this system. He came over from Ohio State, and you can see a big time difference in the attitude and the energy of this group.
Mr. Grinch. Crew has played well tonight. Mims, fair catch at the 20-yard line.
204. And confident with the knee until they put him out there. Obviously doing his thing.
Diaz got some arm talent. Can certainly sling it when the wheels are healthy. Sooners trying to get things going here. This is Stevenson. Had a drive going the previous possession, but got stuffed on that 3rd and 1.
Good push up front by that offensive line on that 1st and 10. Just getting Oklahoma State running sideways allowed Stevenson to make a good read. He has the option to either follow them and go out around to the left or cut back underneath, which is exactly what he did there.
Ramondre's really had to earn it tonight. They did a good job on him, holding him to under 3 yards per carry on his 17 tries. He's got it again on the pitch. Block on the edge. 1st down. Muscled out across the 35.
Let's watch what's tough about dealing with this offense. When you have counter action and then you end up, instead of running this way, you go back the other way. Watch the linebackers from Oklahoma State. Watch them see the guards and they start to move that way. Now it gives you just enough room for Stevenson to be able to outrun him. They're keying those guards. They see the guard and tackle pulling. They're assuming it's a counter play one way. Instead, Lincoln Riley goes back the other way.
Stevenson 5 touchdowns in the 2 games since his return, but definitely a focal point for this Cowboys defense so far. He's got it again. And they pop him, but he falls forward for 8.
Again, I can't say enough about this guy. You know, everything he went through, he had dealt with suspension, kept his confidence. You talked about how he worked on the scout team, stayed in shape. You know, he's at 246. He could easily get out of shape if he didn't work hard. And his body lean, how light he is on his feet, and then he can lower his shoulder and run through you with that size.
Cerritos College, where he came from in LA, has produced a lot of stars in various sports. Jeff Tedford's alma mater, Joe Gibbs, alums all over the place, baseball, football. Final 10 seconds of the third quarter. And Stevenson again. Can they drag him down? No, he's going to pull Carvel Peel across the line. So a scoreless third quarter here in Norman. The lead still 14. And Spencer Sanders, remember, there with the helmet on, throwing. Unclear if he's going to come back in when Oklahoma State gets the football back. But Illingworth does not have his helmet on. Just 2 for his last 15 pass attempts. The freshman's had a tough go, and perhaps the medical staff has now cleared Sanders to return. It would appear that way, Kirk.
He looked pretty intent warming up there.
Meantime, the Sooners have a first down, trying to find the end zone for the first time since the first 9 minutes of this game. Since then, just a couple field goals, then a run of 3 and outs. Scoreless in the third quarter. Stevenson in the clear, makes the cut, and he'll be dragged down from behind to the 30, but finally big Ramondre got loose.
Well, watch Robinson on the counter play lead around, and he does a nice job. Boy, the left side, really, the offensive line as well. Hayes, they create a nice, I love how the offensive linemen turn their backs to the hole, and it gives Stevenson a nice crease into that Oklahoma State defense.
Carvel Peel came across but slipped when Stevenson made that cutback, and that created all the open space. 25-yard gain. And Stevenson approaching 100 yards. Here's a little trickery. And the quarterback flips it in the flat to Jeremiah Hall, who scores. Oh, Lincoln Riley dialed something up, and the Sooners back in the end zone.
How about that? I mean, they catch your attention because Rattler steps aside, and you're thinking, oh, they're going to run the ball with Stevenson. I mean, he's over the left guard here. They go direct snap. They're going to bring a receiver. You think they're going to maybe hand it off, but instead, he fakes it, and now you're going to put this defender in a bind because what are you going to do? You're going to stay with Hall, or are you going to take the quarterback, Rattler, steps up to Rattler, and Hall's all alone in the flat.
That was a fun one. If the defense doesn't spot that the quarterback's lined up over the guard, they're certainly not expecting that. So Rattler, an unorthodox way to have his third touchdown pass tonight, and Oklahoma stretches the lead back to 21. Quarterback knew it right away, signaling touchdown early. Which saw the other challenges of 2020 been a very emotional last few months for the Gundy family. Mike and his brother Cale Gundy, longtime Oklahoma assistant. They lost their mom, Judy, in August. There's Ray, their dad, and she was always like the rock, the glue of the family. They'd get together for Thanksgiving. She would allow no football talk whatsoever between the two sides of the family on this opposite sides of this rivalry. And as Thanksgiving approaches and as this game is played, no doubt both brothers emotional about not having Judy here. Johnson on the return is knocked down. More in the Gundy family story in a minute, but here's the All-State bus. What's your All-State protection spotlight today?
Well, I think you got to look at what we've seen from this defense of Alex Grinch, doing a really good job of getting that pressure early in this game. What an incredible play we saw early by Aguebu, and pressure on the outside by not only Perkins but also Benito. We actually saw Sanders go out of the game for most of the game since that hit, and now the first snap since that play right there.
And he's looking to throw on the run, flips it, and it's complete. And the catch is made by Logan Carter, and a spark for this Oklahoma State offense. Mike was saying that he and Cale have houses on the same lake. It's about an 8-minute boat ride away. They never talk football, but they spent a lot of time together in this quarantine year. Really, more time than they ever can spend in an off season. Juggling catch made again on the slant, and Sanders has sparked this offense. Johnson on the catch that time.
Yeah, he sparked it because he's your guy, right? He's your starting quarterback. It's who you came in. He's a competitor, but also because of his skill set. He can throw it, but as you saw, he can also get outside and get away from some of that pressure.
All of a sudden, they can play fast now. Wolf on the edge, and with the freshman in there, it's a tough ask to play up tempo, but now they can let it rip here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is what we would have seen more of tonight from Mike Gundy if he had his quarterback in. I mean, they knew up front was going to be an issue, and like I said earlier, a great way to slow them down is to attack them with tempo.
Looking to throw again, down 3 scores. There's serious urgency on this drive. Yeah, he was trying to tell the medical staff, we're just speculating, but you could read his lips, that he was fine a while ago. They were very cautious. To their credit, you got to take players' safety very, very seriously. That's at the top of the list.
Yeah, it is. But I don't know what would be different from early in the game.
That's a fair point.
To now.
They had to perhaps be convinced that he was okay, but he was trying to tell him right from the start that although he was definitely shaken up when his head was bounced off the turf by Perkins, that he was okay to go back in there. It took him a long time to come around to his way of seeing things.
And one thing about going fast is you don't want that tempo to affect your rhythm and your fundamentals as a thrower. That time he looked rushed. He threw that ball short, kind of short-armed it. He looked like he was in a hurry to get the ball out instead of staying into that rhythm as a passer.
Need 8 on 3rd down. Figure to have 2 plays to get it. Immediate pressure. They dump it down to Deshaun Jackson. He's tackled immediately. And just sniffing out the play was Graham, the freshman. It's 4th down and long now.
So much fun to watch this defensive line play. Ronnie Perkins gets off to a good initial jump, that first step, but Benito chasing it down. Perry on Winfrey. Defensive line is playing with an attitude. Really felt it's almost like they've been challenged and they're answering the call tonight.
Sooner defenders are disappointed. You see those cutaways? They wanted Oklahoma State to go for it. I'm sure some Cowboy fans want them to go for it too, down 3 scores. They'll bring Hutton in to try to pin Oklahoma back. Clock expires. They'll give them 5 more yards to work with. I think if they had any kind of positive yards on that 3rd down play, Gundy would have considered going for it, right?
Prior to the snap.
I'm surprised he's not, Frank.
I was going to say.
5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Down 21. I don't know if you're going to stop Lincoln Riley's offense anyway. What the heck do you have to lose?
Yeah, you're down 21. You do the math. You need you need 3 stops, right, to get back in the game.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, the stops are hard too. Oklahoma figures to kind of grind away with the ground game. Hutton tries to knock it dead, and that is flawless execution. Fielded on one hop by Stoner down there, so the Sooners will have it at the 1. 11:52 to play. Pacific Life game summary quarterback comparison. Again, 2 Spencers. Sanders knocked out in the first quarter. Return to the last possession. Rattler's been solid. Kind of a little trickery touchdown pass. When it was 3 tonight, 15 of 22. Got to be careful here. Sitting on a 3-score lead, but backed up at the 1-yard line. Stevenson has a crease. From Andre Stevenson, weaves his way. They are backed up. No longer a 30-yard game before Harvell Beal stopped him.
Nice job on the left side. Marquise Hayes opens his thing up. Watch 54 right here get a great push and just open up the left side right there. And I'll tell you again, he has acceleration for 245 pounds. You wouldn't expect that. You think he's a power back. But you give him a little bit of room, he's going to get upfield in a hurry.
Not much success, but if you stay patient with the running game with a big physical pack, Kirk, those body blows tend to pile up. And this defense is taking a lot of them. And now Stevenson starting to run through arm tackles just like that. Another solid game. Holly?
Well, I checked with the Oklahoma strength and conditioning coach, Benny Wiley, before the game, and he said Ramondre did all this on his own. He said he came to me and said, I have to be ready when my suspension is up. So he's been doing extra cardio after every single practice, whether it's the assault bike, the Stairmaster, running sprints. He wanted to be ready for this moment. And I have some breaking news, guys. He's actually lost 10 pounds. He's playing tonight at about 236. So he's leaning up, getting ready for his opportunity, and he is back.
Wow. That was a T-shirt that he flashed in his return game against Texas Tech. Remember Trey Sermon transferring to Ohio State? He had a monster Bedlam game in 17. They flip it in the flat to Mikey Henderson's at a big ball game, and Henderson lost the ball rolling around, heads out of bounds. Williams on the tackle there. Oklahoma keeps possession.
Boy, we've seen that play a number of times tonight. That was a touchdown earlier. One of their first scores where they were able to get him the ball behind the line of scrimmage, allow those receivers to block downfield. Ball comes out late. You mentioned Darius Williams fighting to get that ball. Eventually, it ends up going out of bounds.
He almost knocked it back in the field of play.
He did.
Kept alive a chance for a turnover. But, Sermon transfers to Ohio State. Kennedy Brooks opts out. Think how loaded they would be in the backfield. Already loaded.
Yep.
Stevenson now 127 yards rushing.
I think that's probably been the thing that has been so impressive with Lincoln Riley as a head coach, known as a play caller and an innovator, is that he lost Baker Mayfield and he replaced him with Kyler Murray, lost Murray, brought in Jalen Hurts, and now you see the young quarterback Rattler. But it's not just quarterback, it's the way they've lost guys like Hollywood Brown and CeeDee Lamb, right? They've lost great offensive linemen, and yet you can see through the recruiting and the development that this offense, they really don't miss a beat.
They take the field in this conference with a substantial personnel edge on all their opponents, with the possible sometimes exception of Texas. Rain falling. Stevenson still rumbling. Now the ball comes out. Was he down? Yes, they're saying no fumble. Thomas Harper comes up with it, but he was down.
It's not just the body blows of Stevenson. It's the offensive line wearing on you. He's down clearly. But it's the offensive line, and then you're down 21. And if you don't have spirit as a tackler, it's a little bit easier to get exposed.
Yeah, he's just no fun to tackle anytime at all. But you're right, when you're deflated, when it's been a long night out there, when he's had the rock 25 times now.
Now all of a sudden, now his stats have a chance to really blow up here in the fourth quarter. He's already at 142.
2 games back before this at 87 and 3 touchdowns against Texas Tech. 100-yard game against overmatched Kansas, and now the best game of his season so far.
Just put a star next to the name Thomas Harper. He and his brother Devin Harper, both obviously out of Knoxville, 16 and there was 13. These guys are going to be just continue to show you what they're going to be able to do this year, and in Thomas Harper's case, show you what he can do in the future.
He's the younger of the 2 brothers. Devin, a senior. Stevenson and Mikey Henderson again in the backfield. Rattler using all of the play clock here. This is why you wonder about the decision to punt the ball. Look, they're 3 touchdowns behind, a long way to go. But to kick it back to Oklahoma, even though they began from the 1, just grinding away on the clock now, moving the ball behind that offensive line and Stevenson.
Yeah, the clock's your biggest enemy when you're trying to fight back in the game. They've already chewed up over 4 minutes of clock.
Already moved it 61 yards. It's a 3rd and 11 here. Unlikely they'd try a field goal from this position on the field if they can't gain yardage on this play. Once again, the play clock just about used up, and they hand it off to Pledger. Pledger spinning. He got close to the marker, stopped 3 yards short, and it's 4th down. Offense staying out there, of course.
The 1-2 punch. Pledger and Stevenson. Stevenson checks back into the game. That's where you're trying to defend Lincoln Riley. He's going to what's he doing? Going to let the play clock work down?
Again, it's game 8, but it's only game 3 for him. So even though we're approaching Thanksgiving, number 29 is fresh. He's been waiting for this opportunity. And the play clock will just wind down. And a timeout taken by Riley before this 4th and 4 play. 6.5 to play. Sooners closing in on a 6th consecutive Bedlam victory. As a Super Bowl team?
I did. I said it during the broadcast that they were a Super Bowl contender. Week 1 against the Giants.
I tried to tell you.
No, I'm just saying. With that defense and Ben back healthy, how could they not be, right?
4th down, Rattler back pedals and lobs it wide. open. Weiss for the touchdown. That was a nice little call after the timeout on 4th down. And the party is on in Norman.
That's the thing. You got to defend Lincoln Riley. And you think about, okay, they got 2 backs in the backfield. They're probably going to do something where you're going to run the football. They've been running the ball right down the field. Instead, they hit a crease right between the safety, Sterling, and the nickel, Thomas Harper.
10 different receivers have caught passes. 3 different guys, I should say, have caught touchdown passes. It's the 4th for Rattler. 99-yard march in 5:24.
Well, you really got to recognize the job that we've seen tonight from Rattler. 4th touchdown, playing with boys, providing leadership. Sooners up big. Sooners went with a 2-back look, and what's interesting is you have Drake Stoops right here. You've got the receiver Weiss ends up making the play, but watch this defender bolt to the flat for some reason. Now you got the wide open behind it. I think it's just a bust in coverage, but give Rattler credit for recognizing it, putting out there where Weiss can make a play and walk into the end zone.
Weiss, 1 touchdown in his career. Get him out of here, Rattler says. Wrap it up. Weiss with 2 scores tonight. Having 1 in his career coming in. Brennan Presley now taking the turn at kick return from the 4. And knocked down hard at the 17-yard line. Well, on Thursday, Baker Mayfield, the other Sooner Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in the NFL, taking on the Eagles. The Browns 6-3. Nice season for Baker. Trying to make an impact, or a couple of catches late.
Those quarterbacks that are up in the NFL are going to be proud of watching Spencer Rattler. What a great performance tonight. And I tell you, this is a different Oklahoma team at this point in the season. And the younger team, without some key players like Stevenson and Perkins that had leads on Kansas State in the 4th quarter, and Iowa State unable to hold on to those leads. But you don't want to play the Sooners right now.
Definitely not. Wallace with a catch there. That was his first since the first half, but just the 4th tonight. They've done a tremendous job on the electric playmaker in this Oklahoma State offense, who came in healthy tonight. They targeted him a lot early, but not a lot of success for number 2.
I think this is a more complete team than the teams that have won the Big 12 and gone to the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah, more complete team because of the way they're playing defense this year with Alex Grinch and late in the year. I don't know, I think those teams that have gone in the past and many times gotten exposed in the playoff, they were a great offense, but it didn't have a defense. I think this team has a better defense up front. They've got some experience in the secondary. And I think now that your young quarterback has grown up and he has so many different weapons, I don't know, this feels like a complete team.
Sean Jackson had a big run there a moment ago with a short gain here. Yeah, the 2 losses that they suffered in the conference, kind of immediately they were written off. Everybody viewed them as irrelevant. Certainly for the playoff that was true, but this win tonight puts them right in the mix. Control the destiny for the conference championship game, which again is just the top 2 teams. Does not knock the Cowboys out of things. It will put Iowa State in sole possession of first place with the showdown at Texas on Friday. They can clinch a spot in the championship game if they can win in Austin. That'll be
a tough game
worth tuning into.
Yeah, that'll be it will not be easy, and not the West Virginia game won't necessarily be easy.
Oklahoma State has that makeup game against Baylor pushed back to December 12th. The conference championship game was initially scheduled for that date. Now it's going to be played in Dallas on the 19th. Jackson again. They're going to rest Hubbard and Brown and let the junior have some carries.
See guys like that, 8. Like they haven't had guys like that. They've not had. I mean, they've had some good players, but Winfrey can win. I mean, they've got guys that can win one-on-one across the entire defensive line.
Been very impressive, big number 8. I love a defensive lineman with a single-digit number, and they've got 2 very good ones in Winfrey and Perkins.
They sure do.
Jelani Woods, by the way, who's normally a part of this offense, finally makes a catch down inside the 20. And Sanders on the slant, nicely broken up.
That was a nice play.
Bradley Hiles, let's give him some credit. Yep. We ride him when he makes boneheaded decisions. That was a nice broken up pass there.
Yeah, he did a really good job of sensing when the ball might be coming, and he just got his left hand in there. See, that's why he's on the field. He's got knowledge and experience, and he's a playmaker. He just has to control his emotions.
Sanders scrambling, trying to stay alive, and just has to throw it away. Cowboys playing for some pride here now, trying to tighten up the margin in the last 4 minutes. We'll have to go back to work. Got to stay healthy. Got to get Hubbard closer to 100%. And again, still very much in the mix. They had the win over Iowa State, so they need the Cyclones to stumble a bit. They have that tie break.
Well, who is their game next week? I'd be a little leery of that game emotionally. Who is it?
They get Texas Tech here in their home finale, then at TCU at Baylor.
Well, I think that Oklahoma State, when you lose a rivalry game like this, and you think this is the year we control our own destiny, it can take a toll on you, not just tonight, but the next week.
Good point. Sanders in traffic, swings it to the end zone, and it's incomplete, and a flag comes out. Fields was defending D. Anderson. I can't believe it. Shake of the head. And I think there was a little smile behind the mask there from Riley. Kind of a rueful smile on the call here.
He grabbed him on the arm. Right as the ball was about to get to him.
Pass interference, defense, number 10. The foul occurred in the end zone. It'll be first down at the 2-yard line.
Fields a really solid teammate, one of the vocal leaders. A pleasure to talk to him this week.
Yeah, you see him grab onto the arm. Sanders doing a good job just to hold on to the ball and just long enough to be able to get it out. He's like, come on, give it to me.
The flag was coming out before the point, I promise you. And they try to throw the fade. Big Woods tried to make a one-handed catch, and he couldn't come down with it. Trey Brown's been busy tonight in coverage.
You got to like that matchup. 6'7", against he's listed at 5'10". I think he's closer to 5'9".
He boxed him out. The throw was just a little too tall.
Yep.
And they try the same thing, and the same result. Brown says, you're going to keep testing me. Got it. Batted that one down.
Love that. Love that. Goes up, uses the vertical. May use his arm to help him go up into the air. Uses his arm to push off of Woods to get into the air, but give him credit for his fight out there. They leave him out there on an island by himself against a 6'7" target.
Go for it again here?
Yeah.
Bunch formation to the right. Sanders ducks under the pressure and will spin down at the 5. And there's still John at him, and Guebo let him know, but Nito got there in a hurry, and it's 4th down and goal.
Yeah, this is where it's 41-13, 3 minutes to go. What's the big deal? But no. If you're an Oklahoma Sooner defender, you're doing it's like 0-0 right now. Doing everything you can to keep them out of the end zone.
Brings it. I don't know if we have the best defense in the conference, but we, quote, damn sure better have the best defense in the state. They came out with a point to prove tonight. On 4th down, Sanders. Incomplete. So the Sooner defense with the starters in there, they do make a stand. Norwood in coverage, and they'll take over with 2:40 to play.
Just a little late with this football. He had him open, just waited just a little bit too long until he pulled the trigger to Presley. Ball gets snapped, a little confusion with the offensive line, and because he started to move, it took away the timing, and by the time he threw that, Presley still had a shot, but he was wide open early on the route.
So Riley's going to go to 4-0 in Bedlam games. The legendary coaches, talking about Bud, Barry, and Bob, all of them thoroughly dominated the in-state rival. Wilkinson 17-0, never lost a Bedlam game. Switzer 15-1 against the Cowboys. And Bob Supes 14-4. Mentioned Bob here watching tonight. He hired a 31-year-old Lincoln Riley to call the plays. He fired Josh Heupel, who was a national championship winning quarterback at Oklahoma after an 8-5 year. He saw, many believe, something of himself in Riley. Now it seems like an easy choice, but at 31, to give the reins of an offense to a program like Oklahoma, and he knew that Riley was going to be the man to succeed him, and Bob decided to hang it up. And Lincoln, hard to argue with what he's been able to do in his years as the boss here in Oklahoma.
Kidding me?
I mean, you got some legends who coached here, right? But the way he has started his career, Lincoln Riley's going to go to 42-8 in the hunt for a 4th consecutive conference championship. 2 Heisman winners, 2 top draft picks, of course, in Mayfield and Murray.
I mean, that's in 3 years, if you think about it. I guess he's 4th year now. So in 3 years, 3 Big 12 championships, 3 years. He's had 3 quarterbacks go on to do incredible things. And I think what's different this year, they have made recruiting defense a real emphasis. And I think it's starting to pay off when you look at their performance, not just tonight, but as they have grown and gotten better and gotten, more guys back healthy, and, of course, getting Ronnie Perkins back.
Henderson fights for a first half. Recruiting defense nationally is a lot tougher than it used to be. You pointed out there's so many elite athletes that want to play the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, when you turn on any game, really, it's hard to find really sound defense that's being played. So when you watch a game where you see it, it really stands out. Tonight was a tremendous effort on that side of the ball. Alex Grinch deserves a lot of credit. We're talking a lot about Lincoln Riley, but Alex Grinch is creating a culture on that side of the ball. OU's known for offense. He's trying to get his defensive guys to take pride in what they're trying to create on that other side, and it's working for him.
Victory formation, and the dominance will continue. It'll be 16, saying how much he enjoyed having the All-Access series there. Sign up today, ESPNplus.com/Big12 now. So the second conference loss for Gundy's Cowboys, but not out of the mix. So they can get guys like Hubbard back to 100% and regroup. So a few games to go for Rattler. The roll continues. 5 straight wins after those 2 conference losses. Big night for Ramondre Stevenson, who rumbled for 141 yards on the ground. Also caught a pass in the opening series after a slow start.
Only 5 yards of carry. Came down from his 8 yards of carry, so
you wore him down. The Sooners win it by 4 scores. Next Friday, we're excited about this one. We're going to keep chipping away, banging away. Kirk, maybe we'll get a close game in Chapel Hill. The Fighting Irish and the Heels, they enter Thanksgiving in the ACC. We can only hope. Hope you'll join us. Have a wonderful holiday, folks. Game produced by Bill Bonnell, directed by Derek Mobley. For our entire crew, so long, except for the West Coast. Stay tuned for your local ABC News.